Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Get This Here 101 here today with a tutorial on how you want to custom paint your Xbox 360 or PS3 controller. Alright, so before we begin, I want to give big props to this guy on YouTube, big thumbs up, and his name is My Custom Xbox. Now what he did was he put a whole series of videos on how you want to do this, and I'm going to be following his instructions. Let's start off with the materials you need for the project. First off is the paint. So what I'm going to be doing is using a black and yellow design on my controller. And the paint I and he recommend is Krylon Fusion. So you can see it bonds to plastic, and there you go. You can pick this up at Walmart, all the Krylon Fusion, and they come in a variety of colors. So I have my two paints right there, and this is mandatory right here. You're going to need is clear coat. Now, because we're using Krylon Fusion already, might as well use Krylon Fusion for the clear coat. So you can also pick this up at Walmart, and what this does is when you're done painting your controller, you clear coat it and it will be shiny and smooth and everything. So this puts the finishing touches on it. Lastly, for the paints you're going to need is adhesion promoter. Now this isn't mandatory, it's only for those who really want their controller to last long. This will give you a higher percentage of that. So your controller will last longer and the paint will stick onto the controller for a longer time. Now you cannot pick this up at Walmart. The only place I've actually seen you could get it from is auto stores. So you can get it from anywhere like Pep Boys or AutoZone like that. And so here it is, Adhesion Promoter by Duplicate Color. You just ask the clerk and he'll hand it to you. Secondly, you're going to need is powder-free gloves. Now you don't really need this, it's just I recommend it because you do not want to be getting your sweat or your grease onto the controller while you're painting it, and that just ruins the paint. So I have powder-free gloves. And if you're doing any designs or anything complicated, I'm going to be doing, I'm not sure yet, but I'm thinking of doing tiger stripes. So what I have here is an X-Acto knife. Now this allows you to make the intricate designs on your controller. So what you have here is an X-Acto knife. You can get this at Walmart, and if the blades dull out, you can also get a few more with a pack like these. Lastly, you're going to need is painter's tape. You do not necessarily need painter's tape. The reason why I recommend painter's tape is because painter's tape isn't as sticky, but it will do the job. And so you don't want to put tape on your controller and then when you peel it off, the paint will come off with it. So painter's tape isn't that sticky. I have two types, a thin type and also a thick type. The thin one for small designs and the thick one for big designs. And finally, you're going to need your controller. So let's get started with this video. The first step of the journey is to gut out your PS3 or Xbox 360 controller, and that means disassembling it. Now if you don't know how to disassemble your controller, you can check out my channel. I have a video on how to do that, very clear, and it's in HD, so you'll see everything I'm doing. And all you have to do is just press the link right here and it'll take you to it. So first step finished, and let's move on to the second step. So what I have here is my controller, and I'm going to take it apart. So again, let's take my controller off, and what I'm going to be using is just regular dishwasher soap and the sponge I use to wash my dishes. I think that's clean enough. So we have the front plate here, the back plate here, and my controller is the old type, so what I have is this piece right here. So you better be careful if you have the old type and you don't want to lose this. Turn on the water. Make it a little hot or a little warm, and I'm going to be using this side, the soft side. Let me give you a couple tips and stuff. So when you're washing your controller, it doesn't matter how wet you get it, just make sure at the end you dry it off and it's really dry. Before you do this, you want to, what I've done before doing this is actually taken my screwdriver or a toothpick, and you can actually scratch off some of the sweat you have on your controller that builds up after long-term use. So I've done that, and now I'm going to do is just clean up any scrubbiness that I've missed with my controller, and easy to get with water. So that's the back plate done right there. Let's put this aside right here and get this thing right there. So we'll wash this. And the reason why we're doing this is because we don't want anything to disrupt the paint when you're painting. You don't want bumps on the paint job. So we're doing that right now. Now that your controller's clean, what you can do now is just wipe it off. Now this is very important. You want to make sure it's completely dry. And before you do anything else, yeah, make sure it's completely dry. So I'm using a towel right here, and that's pretty dry, alright, so let's put it onto the back plate. Alright, so the next thing to do is to put tape where you think paint will obstruct the way of your controls. So what I've done here is on the R2 place buttons, I put tape there, and I've also put tape here and here, so where paint won't get on it. And I can close my controller easily, and I've also put tape there, and also in the buttons section, not sure if you can see that, but just for precautions in case, and the front looks just like that. I've also put tape on the sides of the trigger shields, you can see right there. And yeah, so I use my X-Acto knife and the thin tape that I got. And let's move on to step number 4, is it? Yeah. So we're here in my garage, and we are going to start the painting process, the funnest part. So what I've done is I laid out a piece of cardboard and a few boxes there in case if I spray and then it doesn't go on the back side of the ground. And if you haven't seen here, what I've kind of done is I've kind of taken like strips of cardboard and made a stand for my plates, so it's like levitate, it's hovering above the ground so I can paint it easier. And I've also done the same for these. And I'm gonna show you right now how to make one for this one. First things first, get a piece of cardboard, what I have here, and just cut a strip. There we go, we have a strip of cardboard. So what I've done with this plate right here, and what we're going to do for this plate right here, is you first bend the cardboard. You want to bend the cardboard into 3 parts. So 1, and 2, 3. So that's 3 parts right there. And you have something like that. Take your tape, take a strip right off there, and you want to place it where you want to put it on the floor. So we're going to put this right here. So now you have your stand, and you take your faceplate, and what you can do is at the back of the faceplate, take a strip of tape again and make it double-sided just like that. Not sure if you can see, but after that you just put the tape at the back like so. Come on, tape, stick. And now you have a piece of tape at the back, and we're going to put that on the stand. And voila! So now what we can do is get on to the painting part. Okay, so I have it set on a timer for 3 minutes, because for different paints there are different timings, and for this specific Krylon and Duplicolor, all that, you just follow my directions and you'll get it correct. So I have it set on 3 minutes, and right now you don't need your gloves. Put those aside. Okay, so in this step we're going to do 2 coats of adhesion promoter. First step, we're going to spray it with a light coat, that's very important, and then wait 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, we'll do a second coat, and then we'll wait, let's say 4 minutes, and we can get to the paint. So you want to shake this. The instructions at the back say you should shake about 1 to 2 minutes, so let's fast forward this. Alright, so once you've done shaking, let's open the cap. You don't need to take the red thing out. And before you start any type of painting, you always want to try out the paint first. So let's try out the paint right here. And it looks pretty good, so it works. So what you want to do is 2 light coats of this, and let's start right now. Alright, so that's the first coat, and we will now time it. So start the timer, and I will come back in 3 minutes. So it's been 3 minutes, and now we are going to put on our second coat of adhesion promoter. And after the second coat, we now wait 3 to 5 minutes. So we're going to wait for 4 minutes. And we'll come back when it's 4 minutes. We're back. It's been 4 minutes, and adhesion promoter step done. Never have to touch this again. So let's cover this up. Now what we have to do is paint. That's the fun part, isn't it? So my first coat is going to be yellow. And let's see for a second. We're going to do a light coat. Now you want to start as light as possible because you're going to build this coat up. So let's shake this thing. Alright, so first things first is you want to try it out on some surface. Okay, so the paint works. And now we're going to do some light coats of this. After doing that, you want to wait 15 minutes. So let's set our timer to 15. And let's start. So we'll be back. Alright, so one of the things that wasn't shown very clearly in my custom Xbox's video was how light is a light coat. Now this is what I think is a light coat is, but yeah. So just to give you just to show you what a light coat would mean to me. And just remember, we're going to be doing 3 coats of this yellow, and on the 3rd coat it will be completely yellow. So there you go, you can see how light that is. You do not want to put a lot of paint on it. So that was my first coat, and we're still waiting for the 15 minutes to be up. Okay, so we're back for the second coat. It's been 15 minutes, and we have my yellow paint right here again. And let's do the second light coat. Again, make this very light. That was the second coat, and we will now go for another 15 minutes. And we'll be back. Now let me just bring you guys down here for a sec and show you what a light coat for the second round is. Alright, so this is the second light coat of the yellow paint I did. You can see I kind of oversprayed on here, on this one right here. I kind of oversprayed right here. Not that bad, but one of the main things you don't want to do is when you're spraying it, you don't want to make the paint run, and that'll make it a bad paint job. So this is the second coat right there, the second light coat, and it's looking really nice right now. Alright, so we'll be back when the 15 minutes, or yeah, now it's 14, but we'll be back when there's 15 minutes left. Okay guys, so we're one huge step closer to finishing our controller, but we're far from the end. We're going to do our third and final coat of the yellow paint, and what you want to do here is, the previous 2 coats you want to do light coats. This time, you want to still do a light coat, but you want to do it to the point where you've covered the controller completely with yellow. But make sure you don't let any of the paint run, because that is definitely a bad thing. And so let's get on with the last and final coat for the yellow. Let me move the boxes back so we have our shields. And let's paint. Okay guys, so that was our last and final coat. Let me take you guys down off for a sec, just to see everything. And I've covered the whole thing in yellow. So you can see there that there are no black areas, but the coat is not very strong. You do not see any paint running. So that's the back plate. Let's look at the front plate. Very nice looking. Hopefully I can do this for some of my friends who want to buy anything. And so there you go. So that's the third and final coat, and we are going to go on to part 2, because after this you're going to wait 24 hours before you can actually touch the controller. You can actually touch the controller after 15 minutes, but you don't want to get any of your grease or sweat on the controller. So I'll be back here tomorrow with part 2. You can click the link right here to be taken to part 2 of the video, which will soon be up, and hopefully it is up right now. See you guys later.